Oh, look! I was right! An accident! It's just on the crossroad. Here are two cars with broken bumpers. Maybe one car drove through a red light and hit the other one. The police car has just arrived. The police officer protected the accident's area with special road signs, so other drivers should pass the accident. Now they're going to find out who broke the traffic laws. Can you hear?
Hey YouTube, this is Pastor Nate. How you doing this morning? Prayerfully this video finds you well. Listen, real quickly, before we get started, I just want to thank you all for participating in the live this past Tuesday. We talked about the dynamics of prayer, and those of you who participated in that chat, you added some value. My God, friend, thank you once again. It was an electrifying and anointed live, and we're doing part 2 this coming Tuesday, and I want you there again. I want you to come and participate as we continue to talk about the dynamics of prayer, because there's a lot that involves prayer, and there's a lot of things that we probably won't get to talk about, but you can go and read and research it and look in scripture for yourself. I just wanted to bring it to the forefront so it would kind of stir up the need to study prayer more, because if there ever were a time we need to pray, friend, it is right now. So I would encourage you to step up your prayer life, as I'm challenged to do the same thing, because we got many issues that we need to pray about. So real quickly, I want to talk today about being wise and using wisdom. And 1 Corinthians 10 and 23 teaches us that all things are lawful, but they're not expedient, which essentially means sometimes we have to pick and choose our battles. Just because we have the right to do something or say something doesn't necessarily mean that it's always wise to do it. And I think we have issues with that. Many people say, well, I have a right to speak my mind. I have a right to speak my mind. And then we go and speak our mind recklessly, and we cause a mess later on. So I think we have to use wisdom when we want to speak or we want to do something. And that's what that scripture means. All things are lawful. Yes, you have the right to do it. You have a right to say it, but they're not expedient. It might not be the right place, or it might not be the right time to say that. It might not be the right place, or it might not be the right time to even do that right now. You have a right, but sometimes having rights and exercising your rights will cause some consequences. Yes, so I mean, if you're willing to deal with the consequences, then go ahead and do it. If you don't want to be bothered with them, then maybe you need to pick and choose our battles. And I'm not saying run for anything. I'm not saying run from things. Yes, there are some things that we have to be confrontational with. There are some things that we just have to tackle it head on. We do have to take the bull by the horn sometimes. I know that. But my God, people, all the time, you want to speak your mind all the time. You want to just jump in all the time and be in a mess. No, you get tired of fighting all the time, right? So that's what that scripture is talking about. And let me just give you an example. Case in point, let's just say I'm at a red light. Okay, so I'm driving, I'm at a red light, and I stop because the light is red. So then eventually the light turns green. Is it wise to just hit the gas as soon as the light turned green? No, it isn't wise. You need to look. You need to look to your right, and you need to look to your left to make sure no cars come in, because we got some drunk drivers out there. We got some people who don't pay attention, and they could be running their light. Yes, your light is green, you can go, but if they're running their light and going, then you set yourself up for a disaster. You're going to have a bad accident. So what am I saying? Yes, the light may be green. You may have a right of way. But before you go, you need to look. Because if a car is coming and they don't stop, then no matter what color the light is, you still need to stay put until the coast is clear. That's the way it is with life. We have a right of way, but we need to look and make sure, is it wise to do this? Will this give me the most beneficial or most productive outcome if I say this? Or will it cause damage? We have to think like that in life, friends. We do. Because if you're in a car driving and you go because you have the right of way and somebody else is driving, they hit you, yeah, you could have a bad accident. But guess what? Sometimes people don't walk away from those accidents. Yes, some of those accidents actually cause others to die actually, because of the impact. That's why it's so important to be wise. Don't just take off. Use the wisdom that God has given you so you'll know what to do, when to do it. I'm just using my notes here. I'm looking to make sure I didn't miss anything. So basically, we have to use your judgment. We have to use our discernment. And it's case by case. Like I say, some battles you got to fight. Some battles it's worth fighting. But all battles, we have to pick and choose. Here's another example. In my home, I house people from time to time. I had a family a couple years ago and some children. I had a recent family last year and a couple other people. So I think I had like 6 people that I housed here last year. And I noticed my forks in the kitchen were missing. Y'all know how it is when the children take the forks upstairs, or people take lunches out and they take the forks and they never bring them back. That's why I get a lot of plastic forks a lot of time, a lot of plasticware, so that way we won't have that problem. But I remember saying something one time. I asked someone, hey, these forks are missing. Do y'all know where these forks at? And of course, people get mad when you ask them that. They think you're trying to accuse them when you're actually asking them. Of course, I could say, I don't care. This is my house because I can kick all y'all jokers up out of here. Y'all know how we get sometimes. I don't have to deal with this attitude. Y'all can just anyway, okay, Pastor Nate, don't do that. But anyways, we're supposed to follow peace, right? So that's what happened one time when I asked. They got all defensive and they got mad, and I had to go and get some more forks. So it happened again. I noticed the forks were missing. And I said to myself, if I ask someone, first of all, I got to deal with attitudes. Then second of all, everybody's going to deny it. Nobody knows where the forks are. And they eating off forks every day. So the forks just get up by themselves and they just politely walk away, I guess. And they don't return. So I said to myself, I said, maybe that's what's happening. The forks might be walking away on their own. We got 6 people in this house and nobody uses forks. So they just get up and walk away on their own. So this is what I did. I'm using wisdom now. It's comical, it's kind of crazy, but I used wisdom and it worked. So I wrote a letter to the forks. I say, forks, if you're in the house somewhere, can you please make your way back down to the kitchen? I have no forks in the kitchen and I need to use the utensils to eat. So if you're anywhere in the house or outside the premises somewhere, if you're down the road, I don't know, if you're at work somewhere, I didn't put all that in there, but I'm just saying, I'm just being comical right now. But basically I said, if you're anywhere in the house or around the premises, can you please politely walk back down to the kitchen area? So I wrote that letter to the forks and I put that letter on the refrigerator so that it's visible to everybody. I didn't accuse anyone. I didn't go and ask anyone. I politely addressed the forks. Yeah, that's what I did. An item that cannot speak or talk, that's what I addressed. And then I put the note on the kitchen so everybody, when they go in the kitchen, they can read the note. And I noticed a couple days, I had 1 or 2 forks. And I noticed a couple days later, I had 2 or 3 more forks. And then I think I had like 5 or 6 forks. Although they weren't, it wasn't all my forks, I had more than that. But at least I captured 6 forks from that letter. As before, it was unproductive when I went to the individual and asked. They got upset because they thought I was accusing them. So this time I wrote a letter to the forks, and some of my forks came back. That's a crazy example. Okay, it's a weird example. I know it sounds weird, but it actually worked. Why? Because I used the technique that caused results. I didn't just dogmatically go and say, hey, this is my house. I can say what I want to say and then cause a lot of problems. And, sometimes those things end bad, especially when you got roommates, you got to throw them out, and you know how it is. Y'all experience, you throw them out, they come back, and some may try to break in or bust your windows out, things like that. Now, I don't think these people would do that, but you have to think ahead. You do have to think ahead to protect you and your family, right? And the people who are there. So you have to think, because if not, if you just because I have the right to say something, do something, sometimes you have to deal with the repercussions later on, right? So that's what I did, and some of my forks returned. People, what I'm trying to say is use your wisdom, use your judgment. Just because you have the right to say something, just because you have the right to do something, doesn't necessarily mean that that might be the right time to exercise that right. Sometimes you got to wait. You at that red light, and it's not wise to go, because if you go, you're going to set yourself up for a crash. My friend, I pray that this exhortation blessed you. Maybe this will speak to you. Maybe we're involved in some of these situations, or we know somebody who might be dealing with this. You need to send this video to that person so that uh, they'll know how to, deal with situations. Okay? Until next time, be at peace and not in pieces.